Hello all. I have put a background image or small application. I got this on here from pexels.com. Here from Tima Miroshnichenko. And we have the permission to use it, and even we don't need to name the source, but we will do this, right? We like that, to honor things, to respect. So, and I changed also a little bit the CSS colors. I tried to match it a little bit, and if somebody wants to register to it, it looks like this, and the form looks like that. And somehow, I don't know why, but this seems like a zooming thing. I don't know what I'm causing here, but I'm happy about it. It's okay. It's good looking. If we log in as a trainer in our application, then we see 4 items. They have been in one row. Now they are 2 by 2 arranged, and we need to continue on welcoming the attendees to our course. I was struggling how I would make out of this a kind of visualization thing where we can check mark or whatever, and actually it's not so difficult, I think. However, I will pause a lot of. The first thing what we do, we will rearrange a little bit this data on here. And the key is actually not to use these acronyms. Today's courses. This is the thing what we have asked. And we will rearrange this to simply courses of today. I know these are raw data, and we will use this name as the name as they are. And these are the cooked ones. These are the raw. These are the cooked ones. So what we simply do, we will walk through all of these and use those items, because these items are in registrations, right? This is one registration. So as registration. And we will simply copy this registration back to this empty array. Registration. But we will name the index for it. This registration. And then on here, course ID. Course ID. And we will actually end up with, if we now transport this variable into our view, we will end up with the same data, but we have on here an index which corresponds to the course ID, and below this index there is an array of objects with the individual registrations, and then there is a second index. So this means in this object are 2 items, this one, and every item contains an array of objects. And we will make automatically for every course a table. So now I came up with 2 tables. Every table represents 1 course, and every registration to a course is represented as a row here in this table. We have seen in our result from the database 2 items one item with 3 objects inside listed in an array. These are those. And the second item which has only one entry of a registration. And this works on here as follows. We are iterating through all courses. We select one course and we put it into the function print attendance list, which actually forms one table. And beside of this column table, where the properties of the registrations are listed, these define which columns are actually picked while a row is printed. So we are using this print attendance function here. And on here we see in closer detail. First, it is taking the first item of the course, which means it takes the first registrant and uses this first registration, as the registration line contains other columns in addition, right? It contains the subject and the start date and the start time, and this is once printed, it's concatenated to a string and simply echoed out on here. And then it's starting to form the table on here, and it uses the call table to print the heading. These are these things on here. It simply adds them up and makes these th things and puts the value in. And then it's looking at every registration to this given course on here, and it uses by iteration through the column table, it learns which properties of this object, which is represented by one registration, should be actually picked out of it, and the result of this picking out of this line, it's enclosed by this table data element. So this is the thing. We could actually also, if we want, we could also add an additional line on here, as we know which fields we have queried from the database. This represents these fields on here, and we can put here also course number, for example. And if we reload this, then the course number is on here again. Also I added in addition. What we want to do on here is we want to inject one column in addition, which does magic things later for us, and we will do this on here. We will form where these data elements are put in this row. Before we are doing this, we are doing on here one additional data element in. We name it something like command, and that the table is not disturbed. We will do also on the heading the same thing, but we will use the table head things, and we'll just write nothing into it. So on here it looks like now on here, and within this cell on here we can put magic things in. For example, we could actually we can replace this by, for example, the course ID, and we could also add also the registration, the attendees ID, right? The attendee ID. So we see in these cells the course ID, this ID, boom, and then in this row we had something with 6. And these data we can also actually use if this cell is clicked to send this to our website, which then knows which attendee to which course has appeared at a specific time to take the course. And this we will do with some XML Ajax requests towards our courses module on here, and we will take usage, or we'll try actually to understand how the API things works from the Trongate framework. it needs a long time to load this RP Explorer on here. We will walk a little bit through this one here in, so we can cover also the subject by this one. Okay, quick cut and glue technique. So let's make these things on here clickable, that something is happening, and we can actually put in this TD thing, this is our special thing. We can put on click, can say attendance. I don't know if this is correctly spelled. So, like this. Okay. And we can define on here a little bit JavaScript. And if this is clicked, voila. Okay, reload. Okay, something is happening. This string on here, we can add in this table data thing as a data element, data, and then maybe for identifier. We want to identify, right? Data ident equals to something, and we can put everything of this thing, cut out this in this one on here. Yeah. Everything in this data indent, and then this data indent is retrievable in JavaScript. Net indent equals data get attribute, and this thing is asking us for a name, and it's data indent, and then we can output indent, reload, click, hola, 5.2, use ID 5, course 2, use ID 3, course 1. Maybe it's cool to put on here something in. Where is it? On here. Egg. Okay, so we see something. Okay, this is one thing. What we can do, as we want to send this data to our application, we can define an additional function which helps us to send something. We could say function it's called XHR, I don't know what this means, and we will give to this thing some parameters, this data we want to send, and we will also add a URL and address, whatever, doesn't matter, and we can make an instance of the XML HTTP request object from within the browser. I think it's built in, right, in this JavaScript thing, and we can open a connection to somewhere, and we can say we want to post something to this address we are providing it, and we can define how it's called. Request header or something, right? The request header, and we want to set Where are my notes? Okay. Content type, and we will put in here JSON. Okay, and then we can simply send this thing, right? This data on here, these params actually, right? But we wanna, but we need to JSON stringify this thing. We need to convert this params object to a JSON string, and then this is sent. And if this multi is done, it should execute this function. And this function would just take the result, whatever. And we are sending from our website backwards also JSON string. So we need to parse this thing. And it's in the response text thing on here. Actually, I don't know if I need to put this curly, this semicolons or not. I don't know. I don't have any clue. No. This ident thing we could actually put into in an object, and we can name a variable ident and put the content of this variable ident into it in. And we could also define the URL handler, and this is actually let's make some PHP in the base URL, and then it continues with courses. And now we need to define a function on our website. I will take the same name as this one here. Cool. Yeah. So and these two things on here, would call our function params, and then URL handler, right? URL handler. Oh. And now we should see actually something. Let's make this again smaller here. Save, reload, and maybe it's cool if we inspect in parallel so we see something. So if you reload it, and if you go to the network tab on here, we see what's happening. If we click on, and we see that we sent a post, and we have seen that we are posting something to Toolhouse courses egg attendance, and we are sending this one here. And this is the JSON. Can I zoom this? No. And this is the thing we are sending, and as a result we are getting, okay, page not found. This is fair, right? It's absolutely fair. What we do, we would use actually this one here and define in the courses module a function, and we would just say echo JSON encode, because we want to encode something, and we will I don't know actually what we will do, but we will just say hello arc attendance is there. Okay, so if we send again one, then we see that we have a 200 return code, which means it could find it. It could find it, and there is a result. And Now I don't know if this is ready to go. No, but this is JSON encode. No, decode. JSON decode. No. Or is it JSON encode? Encode to make something, right? Genau, to make something to a JSON. Okay, so okay, yeah. So, and this is the output. But and these things on here can do something, and this is named in Trongate an endpoint, an API endpoint. And Trongate offers Trongate offers the API manager, and this is what we will look in the next part a little bit closer, because this thing helps us to test such functions and make them also secure. Yeah. Okay, so click cut and glue technique. So I'm a little bit playing around with the API Explorer, and I think this subject is too important. It's too important to make a video, if not, but it's 100% sure about it. But for this, what I figured out so far, but it's not for production. It's not for production, what I now tell. The API Explorer can be accessed by the base URL and then API/Explorer and the name of the module. And if the Trongate desktop app has been used to create a module, then there is an API JSON file. And on here, we can also add our own endpoint in. And on here is the authorization set to a wildcard. So we will actually see something, but it's not for production. I will wrap up this movie and upload it. And the next 2 weeks I'm very busy. So at the end of April, I will of May, the end of May, I will continue on this project. So far, I feel very good with this Trongate framework. It's enjoyable, and it does not put pressure on me. I can program as I want, and I know there is something which supports me. Yeah, it's there, but it's not. The German word is aufdringlich. I don't know what's the English word. Aufdringlich of English. Trongate is not intrusive. Yeah, it let me do my job, but I know it's here. Yeah, so okay, friends, thank you for following so far. Please support me emotional with a thumbs up or whatever, or even maybe with a nice comment. I would be very happy about this, and I hope you enjoyed so far and that I have not messed up so completely with this. It's a very nice framework, really. Okay, so I wish you all the best for the next days.